With my wife I don't get no respect. I made a toast on her birthday to the best woman a man ever had. The waiter joined me. I'm not a sexy guy. I went to a hooker. I dropped my pants. She dropped her price. I tell you, I'm not a sexy guy. I was the centerfold for Playgirl magazine. The staples covered everything. What a childhood I had. Why, when I took my first step, my old man tripped me. Last week I told my psychiatrist, I keep thinking about suicide. He told me from now on I have to pay in advance. I tell ya, when I was a kid, all I knew was rejection. My yo-yo, it never came back. Oh, when I was a kid in show business I was poor. I used to go to orgies to eat the grapes. When I was a kid I got no respect. The time I was kidnapped, and the kidnappers sent my parents a note. They said, "We want $5,000 or you'll see your kid again." I tell ya, my wife was never nice. On our first date, I asked her if I could give her a goodnight kiss on the cheek. She bent over. I tell you, with my doctor, I don't get no respect. I told him, I've swallowed a bottle of sleeping pills. He told me to have a few drinks and get some rest. Some dog I got to. We call him Egypt because he leaves a pyramid in every room. With my dog I don't get no respect. He keeps barking at the front door. He don't want to go out. He wants me to leave. What a dog I got. His favorite bone is in my arm. Last week I saw my psychiatrist. I told him, "Doc, I keep thinking I'm a dog." He told me to get off his couch. I worked in a pet store and people kept asking how big I'd get. My wife and I were happy for 20 years. Then we met. I'll tell ya, my wife and I, we don't think alike. She donates money to the homeless, and I donate money to the topless. One night I came home. I figured, let my wife come on. I'll play it cool. Let her make the first move. She went to Florida. I asked my old man if I could go ice skating on the lake. He told me, wait till it gets warmer. My doctor told me to watch my drinking. Now I drink in front of a mirror. I drink too much. Way too much. My doctor drew blood. He ran a tab. When I was born, the doctor came out to the waiting room and said to my father, "I'm very sorry. We did everything we could, but he pulled through. I come from a stupid family. During the Civil War my great-uncle fought for the West. I come from a stupid family. My father worked in a bank. They caught him stealing pens. My father was stupid. He worked in a bank. And they caught him stealing pens. My mother had morning sickness after I was born. My mother never breastfed me. She told me that she only liked me as a friend. My father carries around the picture of the kid who came with his wallet. My wife made me join a bridge club. I jump off next Tuesday. Last week my tie caught on fire. Some guy tried to put it out with an axe. I met the Surgeon General. He offered me a cigarette. One time I went to a hotel. I asked the bellhop to handle my bag. He felt up my wife. This morning, when I put on my underwear, I could hear the Fruit of the Loom guys laughing at me. I'm a bad lover. Once I caught a peeping Tom booing me. My wife only has sex with me for a purpose. Last night she used me to time an egg. It's tough to stay married. My wife kisses the dog on the lips, yet she won't drink from my glass. When I played in the sandbox, the cat kept covering me up. I could tell that my parents hated me. My bath toys were a toaster and a radio. One year they wanted to make me poster boy for birth control. Capital I. Remember the time I was kidnapped and they sent back a piece of my finger to my father. He said he wanted more proof. My uncle's dying wish was to have me sitting on his lap. He was in the electric chair. Once when I was lost I saw a policeman and asked him to help me find my parents. I said to him, "Do you think we'll ever find them?" He said, "I don't. No, kid. There are so many places they can hide." I remember I was so depressed I was going to jump out a window on the 10th floor. They sent a priest up to talk to me. He said, "On your mark," when my old man wanted sex. My mother would show him a picture of me. I had a lot of pimples too. One day I fell asleep in a library. I woke up and a blind man was reading my face. One day as I came home early from work, I saw a guy jogging naked. I said to the guy, "Hey buddy, why are you doing that for?" He said, "Because you came home early, I went to see my doctor. Dr. Viddy Boomba." Yay, I told him once. "Doctor, every morning when I get up and look in the mirror I feel like throwing up. What's wrong with me?" He said, "I don't know, but your eyesight is perfect." I told my dentist my teeth are going yellow. He told me to wear a brown necktie. My psychiatrist told me I'm going crazy. I told him, "If you don't mind, I'd like a second opinion." He said, "All right. You're ugly too." I was so ugly, my mother used to feed me with a slingshot. When I was born, the doctor took one look at my face, turned me over and said, "Look, twins, and we were poor too. Why, if I wasn't born a boy, I'd have nothing to play with." My wife isn't very bright. The other day she was at the store, and just as she was heading for our car, someone stole it. I said, "Did you see the guy that did it?" She said, "No, but I got the license plate." Last night my wife met me at the front door. She was wearing a sexy negligee. The only trouble was, she was coming home. A girl phoned me and said, "Come on over." There's nobody home. I went over. Nobody was home. A hooker once told me she had a headache. I went to a massage parlor. It was self-service. If it weren't for pickpocketers, I'd have no sex life at all. I was making love to this girl and she started crying. I said, "Are you going to hate yourself in the morning?" She said, "No, I hate myself now." I knew a girl so ugly that she was known as a two-bagger. That's when you put a bag over your head in case the bag over her head breaks. I knew a girl so ugly they use her in prisons to cure sex offenders. I knew a girl so ugly, I took her to the top of the Empire State Building and planes started to attack her. I knew a girl so ugly. The last time I saw a mouth like hers, it had a hook on the end of it. I knew a girl so ugly, she had a face like a Saint Bernard. I was tired one night and I went to the bar to have a few drinks. The bartender asked me, "What'll you have?" I said, "Surprise me." He showed me a naked picture of my wife. During sex my wife always wants to talk to me. Just the other night she called me from a hotel. My marriage is on the rocks again. Yay, my wife just broke up with her boyfriend. I looked up my family tree and found out I was the sap. I looked up my family tree and found 3 dogs using it. What a dog I got. Last night he went on the paper 4 times 3 while I was reading it. What a dog I got. I tried to mate her. She wants 50 biscuits. What a dog I got. He found out we look alike, so he killed himself. I went to a gay bar. They wanted proof of sex, so I showed them. They said it wasn't enough. Last Halloween a kid tried to rip my face off. He thought it was a mask. Now it's different. When I open the door the kids hand me candy. My old man, I told him I'm tired of running around in circles, so he nailed my other foot to the floor. I had a lot of pimples too. One day I fell asleep in the library. I woke up and a blind man was reading my face. My wife made me join her bridge club. I jumped next Tuesday. One time I went into a hotel. I asked the bellhop to handle my bag. He felt up my wife. Boy, what a hotel that was. Why, they stole my towel. It's tough to stay married. My wife kisses the dog on the lips, yet she won't drink from my glass. It's tough to stay married. My wife says no because she's tired, then stays up and reads her book. Last week, my tie caught on fire. Some guy tried to put it out with an axe. For 2 hours, some guy followed me around with a pooper scooper. I met the Surgeon General. He offered me a cigarette. This morning when I put on my underwear I could hear the Fruit of the Loom guys laughing at me. A travel agent told I could spend 7 nights in Hawaii, no days, just nights. I came from a real tough neighborhood. In the local restaurant I sat down and had broken leg of lamb. I came from a real tough neighborhood. In the library the sign says shut the F.K. up. I came from a real tough neighborhood. Once a guy pulled a knife on me. I knew he wasn't a professional, the knife had butter on it. I came from a real tough neighborhood. I bought a waterbed and found a guy at the bottom of it. I came from a real tough neighborhood. I put my hand in some cement and felt another hand. I came from a real tough neighborhood. On my street, the kids take hubcaps from moving cars. My wife's not too smart. I told her our kids were spoiled. She said, all kids smell that way. Once, somebody stole our car. I asked my wife if she saw who it was. She said no, but I did get the license number. I remember one guy gave her a good piece of his mind. Yay, it was right after she took a good piece of his leg. My wife had her driver's test the other day. She got 8 out of 10. The other two guys jumped clear. My wife, a great driver, she once hit a deer. It was in a zoo. There are a pair of shoes on the dashboard. They belong to the last guy she hit. My cousin's gay. I always tell him that in our family tree, he's in the fruit section. My cousin's gay. In school while other kids were dissecting frog, he was opening flies. My cousin's gay. He went to London only to find out that Big Ben was a clock. With my wife I don't get no respect. I made a toast on her birthday to the best woman a man ever had. The waiter joined me. I'm not a sexy guy. I went to a hooker. I dropped my pants. She dropped her price. I tell you, I'm not a sexy guy. I was the centerfold for Playgirl magazine. The staples covered everything. What a childhood I had. Why, when I took my first step, my old man tripped me. Last week I told my psychiatrist, I keep thinking about suicide. He told me from now on I have to pay in advance. I tell ya, when I was a kid, all I knew was rejection. My yo-yo, it never came back. Oh, when I was a kid in show business I was poor. I used to go to orgies to eat the grapes. When I was a kid I got no respect. The time I was kidnapped, and the kidnappers sent my parents a note. They said, we want $5,000 or you'll see your kid again. I tell ya, my wife was never nice. On our first date, I asked her if I could give her a goodnight kiss on the cheek. She bent over. I tell you, with my doctor, I don't get no respect. I told him, I've swallowed a bottle of sleeping pills. He told me to have a few drinks and get some rest. Some dog I got to